Hello. I have just arrived at the exhibition centre because I'm presenting at the Brisbane Home Show today, and in true me style I've got my shoes in hand and flats on so I can walk here quick. I don't really know what to expect. I've done something like this before at Grand Designs but never in Australia, so I think it'll be quite similar, but yeah, we'll see how we go. I am doing half an hour talks, like 20 minutes presenting, 10 minutes Q&A, and I've just come here early to try and see a couple of other kind of online people who have followed for a while and get a feel for what the vibe and stuff is like, so I'm taking you through what it's like. Pop in my full talk of the home show now so you can see what I was talking about.
Alexandra, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm so great. You've got a very strong Australian accent there.
Very strong.
Very strong. What I love, I was excited to be able to see your lineup when I was sent all the details for the Brisbane Home Show. DIY is something that we hear about on so many shows, and we know some people get incredibly excited, some people start to break out in a rash, and now we're going to hear about is it good, is it bad, have we got something to fear or shouldn't we? Your presentation is going to give all the answers? Yeah, fantastic. Please put your hands together for Alexandra Lawson. We'll do Q&A afterwards. Thanks so much.
Hello, good afternoon. For those who I haven't met yet, I'm Alex, better known in the DIY and online world as Casa Lawson. My DIY journey started about 6 years ago in 2019 when I bought my very first home. Now, many of us, when we pour money into our bricks and mortar buying those four walls, we often find we don't have money left for the trades and the materials that we need to do the jobs. Now, I grew up in a house where my dad would never pay someone for a job he could do himself, so I grew up with fond memories of school holidays doing plumbing, fixing up bathrooms and being his sidekick. Unfortunately, just before I bought my first home, I lost my dad, so I found myself with the keys to my new home and all of my dad's old tools. I started small and decided I would follow in his footsteps and have a go to DIY. Now, I want you to take away three key things from today's presentation. First of all, that you can achieve so much more than you think. I cannot tell you how many messages I receive from people who say, I wish I had the courage to start, or I wish I knew how to start. The biggest problem is that you just need to start. Start small. Start with something that maybe nobody else will see if they come over to visit. So don't start with the living room or the kitchen. Maybe start with a bedroom and decide to choose a new paint colour or pick a new bedding, play around with patterns, something that if it goes wrong is very easy to fix. Before I started my journey, I had only ever painted my teenage bedroom. So I started with a Dalmatian wall where I had black paint and a stencil, and I wanted to transform what was once a cupboard into a dressing room. Now, by starting small, my skills grew with every project, and so did my confidence. So really it's just about knowing that you can do much more than what you think, and I'll show you some projects where you'll be able to do that today. The other thing is that having a plan is so important. I know that you come to things like today, or you watch the blog, or you scroll on Pinterest, and all you want to do is start. And you rush to Bunnings and you buy all the things, and then you go gung-ho in, and before you know it, you didn't really know what you were trying to achieve. By starting with a plan, drawing it out, thinking about your colour scheme, what are you really trying to achieve, and what do you want that finished product to look like? Having a plan, whether it's for just a simple bedroom makeover, a furniture build, or a much bigger installation, will really help keep you on track. And the final thing is that it doesn't have to cost the earth. Today in my presentation, I'm going to take you through so many projects that I had quotes from the professionals that were eye-watering, and then I had a go myself, and with a bit of elbow grease and some planning, I managed to do it. So let's start with a popular one, the IKEA Packs hack. How many of us have not enough storage in our houses and we want to have new built-in storage but we just don't have the money to stretch? I was quoted $36,000 to install 5 metres of wardrobes back in our home in the UK. Now, I did not have $36,000 to spend, and so instead I turned to a firm favourite, IKEA. Now, the fantastic thing about IKEA is that they have an online tool where you can build your space. So you put in your measurements and you can design a wardrobe which is bespoke to a point. Maybe you want more hanging, or perhaps you're more of a drawers person. You can design all of your inserts, and it helps to give that really bespoke feel but without the price tag. So I started with a room that looked like this. Now, one of my favourite things to do when starting with a space is to get some frog tape or some masking tape and mask out what that size of furniture or new thing you're going to install is going to look like. Now, that could be maybe you're thinking about getting a new coffee table, maybe you're installing a new sofa. Tape it out on the floor. Live with those measurements for a few days and see, do I think I can get around this space? Am I going to have to move like a penguin with that new bed? Things like that will help give you a real feel for the space. So I started by taping out where the wardrobes would go, and then once I was comfortable with my design, I ordered it all on IKEA's website and it was delivered straight to my door. Now, we wanted to have the tallest IKEA packed wardrobes you could have, so we opted to not have a wooden base, which you will see in many videos online. Now, if I was doing this again, learn from my mistakes, do the wooden base. Whether you're in a new build or an older home, it takes so long to get your wardrobes level and be able to build off of them. So if I was doing this again, I would definitely opt for the shorter height and building a wooden base. Once I built the wardrobes and had them secured to the wall, it was then very simple to be able to build a frame around the outside of the unit and using 2x4, and then I boxed it in using MDF. Now, after it's all built in, then comes the fun part. You know, do you want to add wallpaper to the space? What paint colour are you going to choose for those wardrobes? Now, MDF is very, very absorbing material, so you must make sure that you wood prime before you go in with any sort of paint, or you will end up with this sort of furry consistency on the front of your wardrobes, which nobody wants. Now, I didn't want it to just be one door from the top to the bottom, so I actually added MDF wooden fronts to the front of the drawers to give that built-in bespoke feel. Now, when it came to the doors, I thought that was just a little bit beyond my skills. So this is one of those situations where you decide what's within your reach and what you'll splurge on a little to perhaps have a tradesman or a professional to help. So we had a joiner come and help us do the doors, but everything else was done as a complete DIY job. Now, in total, we spent $6,000 on all of the materials to achieve this, and what we achieved in the end was a walk-in wardrobe dressing room, which really does feel designer. It's a total luxe look, but for less, without that huge price tag. And you can also think about adding, you know, what can you add in the centre of the space? Can you pick some fancier handles, and perhaps because you've spent so much less money on the build, you have an extra bit in the bank to be able to spend on those nicer, finer, soft furnishings that really help to make it feel special. Another one is custom furniture. How often do you see something on an advert or click onto a photo only to find that it's without your price reach when you actually want to purchase it? Now, this table in particular was around $2,000, and I loved the reclaimed wood, older feel of this. Now, you'll often find that you have a reclaimed wood yard local to you where there are loads of beautiful old pieces of wood crying out to be turned into tables, you name it, there's something there for a project. So I headed to my local timber merchant and I found, you know, something that was around $400 to allow me to create this table. Now, I didn't really know what pocket hole joinery was. You might be there wondering what that is too. It's essentially a way to put your table legs together that means the screws are hidden. But what did I do? I took to YouTube. I watched a few YouTube videos, got a bit more confident, did some practices on some other scrap bits of wood which weren't so expensive, and then I was able to build this table for a fraction of the price. Now, if custom build furniture is maybe not your thing, then what I would encourage you to do is think about upcycling. How many of us have an old piece of furniture in that awful orange varnish that was so popular in the 80s and 90s, and many of us think, oh, I'll just get rid of it. I can't tell you how much a bit of elbow grease and some paint can transform these pieces of furniture into something which is really modern looking and so high end. Now, you might be wondering, if you don't already have these pieces at home, where can you find them? My favourite is Facebook Marketplace. My other half, who's sat down here, often fears what he will come home to when I say, I've been on Facebook Marketplace, I've found something else. But often you'll find pieces on there for $60 to $100 that people just want rid of. This black cabinet in the corner, that cost us around $100, and with a bit of black paint and some contact paper, I was able to really elevate it. It's also a great way to give second-hand pieces a new lease of life. In a world that we're always trying to be, a bit more sustainable, that's the way that you can do it in your home. Now, another firm favourite of mine, which I think this is going to end up being like Artex or wall panelling of the 80s, but wall panelling in a room can really transform a space. Whether you decide to do it on one wall, the whole wall, maybe your hallway, half a wall, the beauty of it is that you can make it completely bespoke to you. Now, this picture you see here is what we refer to in our house as the utility, but it was once a very boring space. Now, by adding some bold panelling with a gorgeous colour and some wallpaper, we added coat hooks to create a beautiful yet practical additional storage solution in our home. And to do something like this is really cost effective. Now, if you've not got any experience at all with panelling, I urge you to think about how you might want to attach it to the wall. A favourite of mine is to use liquid nails or no nails, as you may know the brand, but have a think about how long you think that may be up for, because if you decide to tear it off the wall, it's likely you'll have a replaster job on your hands. So if you think it's maybe only going to be for a couple of years, you might instead want to do something like using a nail gun. But please, before you use a nail gun, use a stud finder to make sure there are no pipes or electrical wires behind the wall. Take it from somebody who put a nail through their central heating pipe 4 hours before my mum arrived for Christmas. But this is a great way to transform, a bedroom, a bathroom, in some of those high traffic areas, maybe like a boot room or a hallway where perhaps got kids kicking off their mucky shoes. Think about what paint you also might use for that project. You want perhaps a wipeable paint that's very durable. That way you can get rid of the scuffs and keep your project looking much smarter for longer. Now, if you're wondering what would maybe be your entry level into this project, this bottom left corner here is the easiest way to start. I panelled that wall for just less than $200, and one of the ways you can really keep it cost effective is to buy one large sheet of MDF and ask your timber merchant to cut it into 100mm, so 10 centimetre strips, meaning that all you're left to do at home is cut it to the length that you desire. Now, you can do that with a hand saw and a simple miter block if power tools aren't your thing. If you're feeling a little more confident and power tools are something you would like to start using, again, turn to YouTube, watch some YouTube videos. You can get a great basic miter saw for around $70 to $100, and that would do a job like this perfectly. There are so many resources online these days to help you of how you can do these projects, and again, with MDF or these wood panelling, you really want to think about the prep work. How do you prep these pieces? Are you using wood primer? Does your paint have a built-in primer? Make sure in your plan that we spoke about at the beginning that you really think about what different things you can do to really get that high-end feel. Now, when you're doing panelling, one of the most important things which many people might like to cut out is, using decorator's caulk to go around the edges. So in either an old house or a new build, you can often find that it's not straight. And with the best will in the world, you will end up with a small gap either at the bottom or around your edge of your panelling. Making sure you complete all the steps and using something like decorator's caulk or a wood filler to fill any of those gaps and doing sanding down and proper prep work will mean you get a really high-end finish. Now, this down in the corner here, that back wall is actually just painted. So a lot of people often look at that and think that it's a piece of wood that's put on first of all. You can achieve this look with just some simple mouldings. Paint the wall in your desired colour first of all, and that will make it much easier when you stick on your boxes. You can either create them as boxes beforehand or create them as a box on the wall. Now, often people will draw out their design to get a feel for how it's going to look in the space, so don't just go straight ahead with trying to, decide on the sizing and commit to it. As they say, measure twice and cut once. One of my favourite things in this type of project is to use, again, frog tape or some pencil onto the wall. Have a play around with the sizing. Do you want 5 boxes? Do you want 4 boxes? What's the shape of the other things that you're putting in that room? For example, are you going to have a sofa against the wall? Will you still be able to see the sofa, see the panelling once the sofa's installed? I get so many questions of people asking, how do you know what height to put it at? How do you know what spacing to use? It really is personal preference, and I kid you not, when we did this coat project, I literally stood in front of the wall as as if I was going to hang my coat and just marked and with a pencil mark where the hooks would go. So it really is that simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Have a think about what you're trying to achieve in that space and really think about how you can break it down and make it look simple. So those are a few of my top tips on how you can feel the fear in DIY anyway. One of the things I really want to urge you to do is think about those spaces in your home, maybe a place that you've wanted to refresh for such a long time. What's stopping you? Is it not knowing the paint colour to choose? Is it not knowing exactly how to do the project? Turn to the resources that are online and the materials that are now available. Reach out to people like me. I'm always more than happy to help people who are there and willing to ask a question about a project. And if you would like to find me, you can scan the QR code, find me on Instagram. My inbox is always open for any DIY related dilemmas. That's it for me.
Am I on? I want to know, and everybody else does, what did you do with the pipe that you put the drill into when your mother was coming over? How did you do that? Like a nightmare.
Yeah, complete nightmare. We found a plumber online who could come and help us. Actually, the plumber arrived and we wished we'd just done it ourselves. He was like one of these people paid by the hour, mucking around, back to the van to get tools, coming back, and by the time he came back, Chris had cut all the piece out of the wall and just said, fix it.
Fix it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I love? The journey for people who aren't really practical, and my dad could build and do everything, right? He was a sparky, could weld, and my twin brother much more so. And as a kid, I really wasn't that, even though I've become that. But starting off with furniture pieces, I think that is amazing. I would recommend almost before you start the house, get something from, I love the salvos. So here we have St. Vincent de Paul, I love salvos. And your partner cringes at you when you go on Marketplace. My partner hates it when we go past, they go, oh, council pickup, and you go, stop. And I drive slowly, how amazing. Because people throw out the most ridiculous things because they're ugly, but they're solid.
Yeah, they're solid. And to buy something similar to that today would cost you a lot more money.
Yeah, 100%. And I completely am with you. Pine is a 4-letter swear word in my opinion, and it's orange and it's dated, but transforming it, like that beautiful side piece that you had with the tapered leg, how good did that look, don't you think, in that rich charcoal? That was beautiful. You're very good.
Thank you very much.
I'm very impressed. Do I have any questions at all? You're all dazzled. They're all smiling at you. You've got the nod of approval from the Brisbane crowd. And sorry, Tom, can you pop up the socials page again, that last one? Do you know, I reckon you might be like, you have to talk to my partner because you guys would understand each other because we are from the same place. We leave signs at the Airbnbs we stay in, and I go, do you see how nice it looks now? Leave it like this. Google who I am and don't go back to that ugly look. We change the Airbnbs that we go to. You probably do the same. Do you tweak everything?
Cushions look nice, change things up.
Move furniture around, I change it, everything. And do your friends get worried, oh my gosh, she's coming over? Because you're going to start moving things around.
Or I've become the friend of last week I got a WhatsApp, look at the dirty water that's come out of the carpets in our new house. I was like, I'm that friend. I'm the friend that now sends pictures of dirty water.
Another thing that you touched on, furniture pieces, but another great job that I think people could start with, and you alluding to this stuff, is in a kitchen. Changing the jewellery, the earrings, which is the knobs and handles. Little jobs like that for the DIY crowd. And I think, your energy is amazing, but you are the proof of the pudding. You've had a go, you've made mistakes, you're learning, and this is how you're building a brand.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing is knowing what you can do and what you can't do. In my very first house, I did a huge garden renovation. Did I build the decking? No, I paid somebody to do the decking, and I actually painted my flagstones to make them look like tiles because that was achievable. The decking now would be, but at the time it wasn't. But I did the fencing and I was able to save money that way. So really think about, you might not feel like you've got the skills, but what is the simple early projects that you can do that you can save money to get the trades to do that?
Yeah, and you talked about liquid nails. Another important little thing that you should have in your designer toolkit for renovation is an art line texter. And you cover that little chip on the thing or that little bit on the black light fitting and just walk around and outline everything to transform it. I don't know which version of you I like better, this one or this one. They're both pretty cracking. You sure we don't have any photos at all? Oh, sorry, photos. Questions? I'm dazzled by the photos. I'm going to...
It's a touch-up.
An art line texter, black. I have a white one as well. I have a gold one and a silver one. I've got them all. Do you know, you'll get this from your space. I worked, when I began in TV, I used to work on the living room on Channel 10, so I've been in your living rooms, and some of you people go, oh, that's where I know you from. One of the stylists I worked with had been on Foxtel for like 20 years or something, and her kit, she had fishing line, blue tack, black, white, silver, gold textures, like all of that immediate stuff, because it's amazing just to touch things up and elevate it. That laundry that you did was outstanding. I do want to know one thing. You removed the whole wardrobe and you put a baby there. So you just threw all the clothes out. What happened?
Yeah, that was a friend's makeover. They didn't need it. It was a spare bedroom.
Yeah,
Just old.
we have a baby now, so we're not going out for the next 3 years. So let's get rid of all the clothes and put a baby there.
Yeah, but also been able to change. You mentioned about touching up, but see if you're, if you buy, for example, a lamp in a shop, and maybe the base is gold, but the lamp is cheap. Then you can just get some black spray paint and make your base black. Or it can be so small, the thing that you start with. It doesn't have to be a huge project.
Yeah, I agree.
And the best feeling is looking back and saying, I made that, or
Yeah,
I built that.
I completely agree. Look, I'm just letting you know what I'm looking at. It's just smiles. Because we love, do you know what I talk about, the power of Cinderella? We love looking at, she looked like that, fairy godmother's turned up, and now she looks like this. So in design, it's just contrast. It was this and how it looks like now. You're increasing value, but you're also, the big 4-letter swear word now in the UK and here is budget. So you're watching money, and it's fun. Like, it's something that you can do together, even though you must just go like, stop looking at the footpath when you're driving past, honey. Like, we're going this way. He's smiling away.
The worst is when there's pallets. If there's pallets or an electrical cable reel, it's hard to not stop and pull over the car.
I don't know about you straight blokes out in the audience, but gay men love when women talk about power tools. I find it very exciting. You've got your details up there. I think you're a lot of fun, and we've loved having you here at the Home Show. I just love the pure energy of someone having a go and learning from their mistakes and elevating their space. So well done. You're a cracker. I love it.
Absolutely. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much. Please put your hands together. Cussa Lawson, be able to follow it and be inspired.
I'm finished. Oh, it went so well. A little bit jittery at the start, but once I found my flow, I was good. And Chris was there doing some filming, and my cousin's husband also came to take some photography, so it was nice to have some familiar faces in the audience. The audience kind of filled up as well as we went on. It's a little bit different from Grand Designs at home, because at home the stage is like in the centre of the auditorium, whereas here it's like up in a back corner. But it was great, really nice to be back on stage, and presenting is my absolute favourite, whether it's live presenting or like presenting in general. I just absolutely love it. So yeah, super grateful to have had the opportunity to do it here in Australia too. And yeah, I'm gonna head home now, put on something a little more comfortable, and then I'm gonna head to meet some friends. I would love to know in the comments what you think, and if you've got any DIY questions yourself.